Every day in the USA, people find themselves in court.
I suppose we could get started with testimony if that makes sense to the parties.
I don't think so. I don't think this is going to take too long.
Okay, and we'll interrupt at appropriate moments to take up the other matters we've got. So this is People versus David Morris, file 3323 of 2024. Mr. Naughton and Mr. Williams are here on behalf of Mr. Morris. And Ms. Mogenberg is here. Good morning. Ms. Mogenberg is here for the prosecution. This is a date for a preliminary examination. Are both parties ready to proceed?
Yes.
Okay, then go ahead and call your first witness, Ms. Mogenberg.
The first witness is Christy Bellish.
Hey, good morning, ma'am. And before you get seated there, if you could please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Go ahead and have a seat. And if you could start by telling us your first and last names and spell them both.
Yep, it's Christy Bellish. It's KRISTY-GULLEDGE.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Gullidge. And go ahead, Ms. Mogenberg.
Thank you. Ms. Bellish, can you start by telling us how you know the defendant in this case?
I met Dave a few years ago snowmobiling originally, and then we got together and started dating back in June of 2023.
And how long did the two of you date?
About a year and a half.
Right. And when you say Dave, who is that?
Dave Morris.
All right. And do you see Dave Morris in the courtroom here?
Stipulate the facts.
Okay. You're under
Okay, so the defense is stipulating that Mr. Morris is seated next to counsel today and has been identified by the witness.
Thank you. I want to draw your attention now to the weekend of November 2nd of last year. You and the defendant came to Traverse City, is that correct?
Yes.
And what was the occasion? Or
There was really no occasion. We just wanted to get away, and his friends were up here in the room next to us that we both.
okay. And do you recall where that was? What hotel?
I don't remember the name of it, but I know I had a bar attached to the hotel, and it was on the beach.
Okay, it was one of the ones right on the water. Is that
Yeah.
correct? Right in Traverse City.
Yep.
Okay. And that's in Traverse County, is that right?
Yes.
Tell us what you did when you arrived in Traverse City.
Honestly, I can't remember if it was there at night or during the day, but we went out at dinner, went out to wineries, to a couple different restaurants, drove around with the scenery, things like that.
Okay. And do you recall about what time you came back to the hotel?
We got back to the hotel around probably about 10 because the bar closed at midnight, which is in the hotel. When we got back to the hotel room, it was maybe just after midnight because the bar was closing.
Okay, so you got back to the hotel, went to the hotel bar, is that right?
Yes.
And then you were there till about 12.
Yeah, that's when it was.
If you can, to the best of your recollection, can you tell us? Obviously you're at different bars and that. What did you drink throughout that day?
Well, throughout the day, we wine. Mainly, what I usually drink is gin and tonic. That's really it.
Can you describe for us how you were feeling? If you were intoxicated, what your level of intoxication was when you were leaving the bar?
We were drinking obviously, and I got a buzz, but nothing that would affect what I remember.
Okay, you were able to walk and talk, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and you remember the events of the night.
Mhm.
Okay. So tell us what happened when you went back to your hotel.
We went back to the hotel room. There was no arguments or anything leading up to going back.
And if I can interrupt for a second, prior to going back, were you still with the other couple that you were traveling with?
I don't know. I believe that when you went back up to their room before us.
Okay, so the two of you are the only ones going back up to your room?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. Yep.
All right. And what happens when you get back to the room?
Well, We lay down in bed together. Obviously, no clothes. I thought everything was okay. And then I wake up to, he must have got a hold of my phone. And I woke up to him strangling me.
Okay, and I want you to describe that for the court as well as you can.
Okay.
How you were situated on the bed, how he was situated, and exactly what he was doing.
Sure. Well, I was taken back by the first, you know, what was going on, and I remember laying on my back, and he had his hands on my back.
The both of his hands were in your neck. And tell us what you were thinking.
I was scared. I mean, I really thought I was gonna die.
Were you lightheaded at all? Did it affect your breathing at all?
Oh yeah.
What happened next? Or how did that end with you strangling?
I was trying to get him off of me. I was kicking and, scratching most likely. Got away from him a couple of times, and I was able to get over the bed that was closest to the door wall. I tried to call 911, but he took my phone. I tried to use the hotel phone, and he ripped it out of the wall.
Okay, when you say he ripped it out of the wall,
The whole jack was broke. I know the police officer took pictures of everything.
so this was the phone that's sitting on was it sitting on like a
We got
nightstand?
on the nightstand in between the two windows. I would close it.
Okay. What happened after that? You said you didn't have your. You said you didn't have your phone.
No, he took my phone, but he told me he threw it in Lake Michigan at the time.
Have you seen it since?
No.
So after the phone is pulled out of the wall,
Mhm.
what happened next?
I was still trying to get just away from him, and he wouldn't leave me alone. And there was a point where I was sitting on the edge of the bed by the door wall again, and he took me and threw me into the wall where the heat register is, and my body actually ended up breaking that. Yeah, I don't know, it's very traumatic. So I remember him pulling me across the floor, which I have started to.
And how was he pulling you across the floor?
I don't think I can't really remember, to be honest. And I was being dragged across the floor because he kept saying he's going to throw me off the third story balcony.
And so he's strangled you on the bed. He's dragged you around, thrown you into the heating or the cooling unit, whatever. What else do you remember from that
I
night?
remember running to the bathroom and locking the door, and he got in right away. And he said to me, he's like, "You think I couldn't get in here?" He's like,
Say what was that?
You think I couldn't get in this bathroom, you dumb bitch? And so I hid underneath the sink, and he was throwing our leftover drinks from the bar that we were able to take up to the bar all over my head. Meanwhile, he soaked all my clothes in the shower. I had no clothes. He threw all my makeup in my bag into the toilet. So I had nothing. So I wasn't able to leave the room. Wasn't able to call anybody. He took my phone. I couldn't use the hotel phone. And I was stuck.
How did you end up getting out of the bathroom?
Out of the bathroom? I was waiting for him to leave, and I ended up laying there. And just waiting for him to leave. And it was like 4 a.m, I believe, when he left.
What did you do at that point?
I sat there. I didn't know what to do. And I ended up eventually getting my clothes on. And I put on wet clothes, went down to the office. The manager helped me out and let me use her phone to call my dad.
And then did you sleep at all?
Oh yeah.
So
I did. I lay down.
okay.
I didn't know what to do. I mean, I was scared. I didn't know. I lay down, just exhausted.
And then, so then when you got up, you, how were you able to get dressed with the wet clothes? And
I took the clothes out of the shower and I used the blow dryer a little bit. And I couldn't, I mean, it wasn't gonna dry my jeans, but I tried to use it on my shirt. And I went downstairs and that's when the cops were called and I asked her to call the police and I called my father.
okay.
They left right away to come get me.
And when you say they left right away,
My mom, yeah.
okay. And where are they?
Where do they live? Warren, Michigan.
And then the hotel called the police.
Yeah.
You spoke to police that day.
Yes.
Have you seen up until now? Have you seen David Morris since that day?
Just from the last court date that I ended, yeah. That was down in Macomb County for the, he wanted to remove the protection order that I had put on him immediately after that.
Okay, so you had a hearing regarding the PCO.
Right, and he had a warrant out and he got, I believe. I can't remember the
Did you
exact date he got
end up-
arrested.
Okay, did you end up having a hearing?
Yeah. He wanted it removed, but he says he didn't know he had a warrant out for his arrest.
And did the judge down there, what did the judge down there do with the PCO?
Objection elements. Doesn't pertain to this case. It's kind of going along. with-
Okay, what is the, okay,
I have no additional questions.
okay, at this point, we're gonna take a break, so you can step down and please do not discuss your testimony or any of the facts of the case. But you're welcome to step outside if you like, just stay close by, because we'll come get you. We've got a couple other matters we need to take. All right, Ms. Gulich, I just want to remind you that you're still under oath. So if you could please have a seat. And you haven't discussed any of the facts of the case or your testimony with anyone?
No.
Okay, so then we'll call on the defense for cross-examination. Mr. Naughton?
Thank you, Your Honor. Hi, Ms. Gulch. Am I pronouncing your last name correctly?
College?
Yeah. Okay. My name is Mike Naughton. I'm an attorney for Mr. Morris. And I've got some questions for you. Now, just kind of problems on this. The person that's reading the transcript cannot type uhs and mm-hms. They get to say yes, no, and like verbalize a response. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. If I ask you a question that you don't understand, it's okay to tell me that you don't understand.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Very good. So you've been with Mr. Morris for about a year and a half at the time of this incident?
Give or take, we started dating in June
June of what year?
of 2023.
And you're also dating someone else at that time.
Yep, objection for relevance, Your Honor.
I'd like to
Okay,
establish what is wrong with this supposed to open intent plan or scheme to lie. Furthermore, this person was a witness at the incident.
okay, so maybe she wouldn't be truthful about this because she didn't want a significant other to know about it. So, Ms. Mogenberg, that does seem relevant at
I
least.
withdraw the objection, Your Honor.
Okay, go ahead. I think she's already answered the question, yes. Okay,
Thank you. That's a yes, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and what's that person's name?
Stefan,
Stefan, what's the last name?
spelled BLACHE.
Did Stefan know that you were going up north with David on the weekend of November the 2nd?
No,
Let's talk about that weekend. Did you leave on a Friday?
whatever the date was. Sunday was the 3rd, so I believe we left Friday. Possibly. I don't remember the exact date.
Had you been drinking before you left for Trevor City?
No,
Had you worked that day?
no.
Okay. And Mr. Morris picked you up?
I really don't remember the full details of before we left for Traverse City. I know I packed, I was most likely at his house.
You packed to David's house.
Yeah.
All right. So you went up in David's car.
Yeah, in the pickup.
Did you drive or did he drive?
He drove.
And when you arrived in Traverse City, did you go to the bar?
I believe that we went out to dinner first, but we were at the bar and we went to a restaurant, wineries.
Now I'm talking about Friday.
I don't remember Friday exactly.
You don't remember going to a restaurant or bar on Friday evening?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean,
Sure.
I just remember the bags that went on Sunday.
Well, we're gonna talk about that.
Okay.
Saturday.
Mhm.
You and Mr. Morris were in a hotel room.
Yes,
And what time did you get up?
I'm unsure.
Was it in the afternoon?
More likely towards the morning time if we were doing things that day.
All right.
Mhm.
And you were there with another couple that you had planned to spend some time with, so David's friends.
Yes,
And you and David like to drink.
we like to go out and socialize. Yes, at the time
And you drink, correct?
we were having drinks.
I'm
Yes.
asking about you.
I'm sorry.
I'm
Can
asking
you
about.
repeat the question?
Sure. Did you have drinks?
Yes.
Okay. How many drinks did you have that day?
That day, give or take 5.
5 drinks. Okay. Well, let's break that apart.
Okay.
You said you went to a winery, correct?
Yes.
What time was that?
Probably maybe around 2 or 3.
All right. And did you drink at the winery?
Yes.
How many drinks did you have?
I had 2 glasses of wine there. Or I tried some other wine that he recommended and I don't know what it's called.
So you had 2 glasses of wine and then another one that you recommended?
No. I had a glass of wine. What's that?
And were you paying for the drinks or was David paying for the drinks?
I believe that he paid for one and I paid for some.
Did you pay with credit card, cash?
Was that credit card?
After the winery, where did you go?
We went out to a restaurant. It was, I don't remember the name. I'm not from up here.
That's okay. Did you have drinks there?
We probably had a drink. We didn't stay very long.
Who else was there?
Ed and his friend Wendy.
Okay. And they had dinner with you?
Yeah.
All right. So you had one drink at this restaurant?
I believe so.
Okay. And,
It's hard to recall.
well, that's why we're here. Where did you go after this restaurant?
We drove around and looked at houses and we stopped at another place. It looked like a house. It was a bar restaurant too. I'm not sure what it's called. Stopped there. We went to a place where they had a lighthouse with a beach.
All right.
Just sightseeing basically.
Did you have any drinks in that period of time?
No.
Where did you go after this?
If we went back to the hotel, I can't remember.
No, within that
Like,
time. Okay. Within that time, Stephen Blash sent you money, didn't he?
Yeah.
How much money did he send you?
$100
Why did you do that?
because I asked for it.
Why did you ask for money?
Because I needed money
For what?
for my expenses up here,
Such as?
such as eating or anything along those lines.
Did you tell Mr. Blash that you were with Mr. Morris?
No.
And was this like wired to your account?
Yeah, Venmo.
So you go to the hotel bar. You recall that?
Yeah.
And did you have drinks there?
Yes.
How many?
3, maybe 2.
No. There was a bartender there. Remember her?
Yes.
Okay. And you knocked your drink over. Remember that?
Yeah, an accident.
Did you speak to all the bartenders that evening?
I ordered drinks and may have complained about her not making one properly.
Did you bring any alcohol up?
I'm sorry.
Sure. Did you bring any alcohol up to Traverse City? Did you have a bottle of alcohol or two with you?
I don't believe so, no.
The tequila, whose was that?
The tequila was in a cup that was David's. Look, you're talking about the one that was thrown?
I need tequila. Whose was that?
I don't drink tequila.
You drink gin and tonic, right?
I like gin, yes.
And did you have gin and tonics at the hotel bar?
Yes.
And you're complaining about how they made your gin and tonic?
Yeah.
What was the complaint about?
Sir, I'm not really sure. I don't remember.
What do you remember complaining?
It might have been in a tall, like a short glass, possibly. Maybe it just wasn't made properly.
Now, did you close the bar?
Yes, me and David did.
All right. Now, when you say it wasn't made properly, how do you properly make a gin and tonic? Was there not enough gin in it? Was there too much gin?
Maybe too much soda, maybe? I don't.
So you closed the bar. Did you go straight to the room after that?
Yes.
Did you continue drinking while you're back up in the hotel room?
No, we basically went right to bed after getting back and getting unwind.
Were you drunk?
I was not drunk to a point where I don't know what happened that night.
Were you drunk?
No.
Okay. And the room was on the third floor, correct?
Yes.
And you said that you remember the evening. Do you remember the layout of the room?
What's that?
Do you remember the layout of the room?
Yes.
Okay, great. Your Honor, may I approach the witness, please? I'd like to ask.
Sure.
And I'm gonna give you a piece of paper. Could you please draw the layout of the room? And when you're finished, let me know, okay?
I'm trying my best.
Okay. Now, you've done this drawing for me, correct?
Yes.
All right. Now, these two squares here are beds, correct?
Right.
These are square beds?
Well, there's beds.
Well, typically beds are rectangles.
Okay.
These are rectangles.
Mhm.
Were these square beds?
No, sir.
Okay. And
They're
then,
beds.
oh, okay, understood.
Okay.
And then here we have the phone. Was this not up against the wall? And here,
It was. I'm sorry. I didn't know you wanted a detailed detail, but they are in the placement of where everything was and then what's over.
that's fair. This isn't an art.
Right.
But I do want detail because this is a case.
Okay.
Do you want to make any modifications to this that I can ask you questions about, or can we stick with this?
Sure. I can redo it if you like.
No. I want to do what you're comfortable with. I'm not trying to force you to do something.
That's just how I pictured it. I wasn't trying. I mean, I didn't know you wanted me to make it up against the actual wall or make it as.
Well, let's do that. I don't want you to think I'm being
Right.
unfair. May I approach, please?
Sure.
All right, and then make the changes that you think would be appropriate.
Okay.
All right, better. Thank you. Okay. So we've got bed's a little bit longer, correct?
Mhm.
All right. And we've got the stand up against the wall and the bed's against the wall.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, when you went back up to the room, you're getting texts from someone, weren't you?
I'm not sure, Mr. Morris, on my phone.
Well, who's Hattie in your phone?
Sorry?
Hattie, Hatty.
My neighbor?
Isn't that Stephen Blanche or Blanche?
No, that's Joseph Hattie.
Joseph Hattie. Now, in your contacts, what do you have Stefan's name as? Is it Stefan?
I really don't remember, considering I haven't had a phone in 6 months.
What type of phone was it?
And an iPhone 13.
All right. Do you have a new iPhone?
No,
Were you able to move your contacts from your phone?
No.
Were you getting texts that evening? Well, actually, you were getting texts that evening for Stefan, correct?
I was talking to Stephanie throughout the day, yes.
Were you getting texts from Stefan also?
Yes. throughout the
Okay.
day.
And you didn't tell David about that, right?
No,
When you went back up to the room,
Mhm.
you and Mr. Morris had sex.
no, we did not have sex. We were going to have sex.
Well, what time do you think you got back to the room by?
Just after midnight. Maybe 10 after 12.
So did you fall right asleep?
I was falling asleep, yes. And that's when things happened.
Now you were naked, correct?
Mhm.
Right. Here's the deal too. I'm not trying to be a delegate. I'm going to be asking some personal things,
Okay.
you know, just so.
understand.
Was Mr. Morris naked when you fell asleep around 12:40? Was it 12:45?
Yes, we typically always slept naked.
What time do you think the altercation took place?
I'm not sure because there was a point in time he had to gotten up out of bed and have my phone before everything started.
So you don't know what time it took place.
I'm not around 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning
Okay, what makes you say that?
because he was gone on the road after he messaged my parents that he left me at Traverse City, and that was at 4:23 a.m. The policeman.
Now, you were woken, and one of the things that Mr. Morris said was Stefan on a video call. Is that correct?
David had Stefan on the phone. I'm unsure if it was a video or
Did you hear Stefan?
yes,
And did you hear Stefan and David talking?
yes, he was talking right there, right in front of me.
You heard David tell Stefan,
Yeah.
I thought you should know that she's not just with you, correct?
Right?
Stefan didn't know about David as you testified, correct?
Right.
You knew that he was on a video call while this was taking place, or you knew that he was on the phone.
Yeah.
Okay. You were upset by this.
I was upset.
You were upset that Stefan knew about David.
Okay.
Not okay. You were upset by this.
I was upset by the fact that David had his hands on me before he even called Stefan.
Let me ask you a question again. If you don't understand, you can tell me you understand.
Okay.
I'm asking some questions and you have answers to those questions. You
Okay.
understand that?
Yes.
Okay. You are upset that Stefan knew about David.
Yes.
All right. You are upset that David knew about Stefan.
Okay.
Not okay. I need yes or no.
Yes.
All right. You went to pains to make sure that they didn't know about each other, correct?
I'm sorry.
You went to, I mean, that's fair. Let me ask a different way. You took steps to make sure they didn't know about each other, correct?
Yes.
What were some of those steps?
I mean, I was with David more than anything.
Well, let me ask you this about Stefan then. Stefan paid for your house, didn't he?
He didn't pay for my house.
What did he pay for rent?
He helped me with rent.
And he helped you pay for your car, correct?
Yes, but I no longer have that card.
I
Well,
asked
that-
if you have the question.
Okay.
Did he help you pay for the car that you owned at the time?
Yes.
Okay. He also helped you pay for groceries.
Yes.
He testified today that he gave you $100 just because you were in Traverse City.
Okay. Yes.
He gave you money on multiple occasions, correct?
Yes.
You were not happy when you were being confronted with the fact that you were not being faithful to Stefan.
We had a messed up relationship.
That's not what I asked you. I didn't ask you if you had a messed up relationship.
Okay.
You were not happy with the fact that Stefan knew now about David and that you were not being faithful to Stefan.
No, I was unhappy.
In fact, you and Mr. Morris went on trips.
Okay.
Went to town.
Mhm.
What did you tell Mr. Blash where you were?
That I needed time away from myself.
You didn't tell him that you were in rehab?
A rehab? No, I didn't tell him I was in rehab.
What is it that you told Mr. Blash? Then, so I can jot it down.
A rehab?
No, you tell me what you told Mr. Blash. I don't want to get it straight from you.
They told me I needed time away from mom and dad.
So you broke up with him. And that's that.
Mhm.
That's. There were times where you were with Stefan, and you told David you were in other places. Is that correct?
Yes,
Those were lies, weren't they?
yes.
You talked to Stefan after November the 3rd, correct?
Yes, we talked.
Trying to patch things up.
No, not necessarily.
You and Stefan are not together right now, correct?
No.
Now, how long was this call with Stefan and David in the room, if you remember, or whatever it was?
I'm not really sure, maybe 5 minutes. I think he talked to him longer than what I heard.
You think David talked to him longer than what you?
Yeah, outside of the room.
What makes you say that
Because he kept coming in on the phone, in and out.
and telling you about that?
Well, I knew he was on the phone with him, but he probably had more conversation with them outside of the room that I knew about that night.
That evening?
Yes.
And I think it's a fair point. Okay, so in terms of the timeline. No. Yeah.
Okay.
So when did you first have contact with Stefan on that date?
When we were at the winery,
How'd you contact him?
my phone,
Did you text him?
text message.
And then how many times throughout the day did you text Stefan?
I'm telling you, 3 times maybe. That was just at the winery though.
How many times did he text you?
Really don't remember. I would have to have my phone records.
Was it multiple times?
Throughout that day,
Yes.
I'm unsure.
Did you respond when he would contact you?
Yeah, if I have my phone on me.
All right. And presumably one of the 2 to 3 times you texted him was to ask for money.
Yes.
Okay. That evening, or I guess this would be early morning of the 3rd.
Mhm.
You testified that you thought that he had spoken with Stefan beforehand.
No.
Then explain, please.
I mean, when he came after things happened, he was on the phone with Stefan over top of me on the bed with it up in the air, talking. But he had my phone before that, before he had Stefan on speakerphone.
Let me ask you about that then. So, is your testimony that you and Mr. Morris got into a physical altercation and then Stefan was on the phone?
No. Stefan, he called Stefan and then he got more angry about it. He already knew about Stefan before this.
How do you know that?
Because we had talked about it before we even went to Traverse City.
You talked to David about Stefan.
David knew about Stefan.
Okay, I'm asking. No.
Oh,
I'm asking you a question.
okay.
You talked to David about this?
David found out about it.
That's not what I asked you.
No, I didn't talk.
Did you talk to David about this?
No.
Thank you.
Okay.
So you don't know what he knew.
I'm sorry.
You don't know what he knew.
No, I guess not. I'm boring.
So then your testimony then is you heard David and Stefan talking?
Yeah, they were right in front of me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what woke you up?
Yeah, that's what did wake me up.
Was them talking?
Yeah.
Okay. Was it because of the noise of the phone? What was it about that that
No, he's pulling the covers off of me to let me know that Stefan was on the phone.
That's the thing. Pull the covers off.
Yes.
Okay. Stefan's on the phone at that point, right?
Yeah.
David didn't strangle you while Stefan's on the phone with that, right?
No, David didn't strangle me while Stefan was on the phone.
He pulled the covers off.
Right.
Okay. So you were not woken up by him strangling you, right?
I guess I was laying down still at the same point.
I just told me David pulled the covers off.
Right, I understand, but I was laying down too again, and he still put his hands on me.
To pull the covers off.
No, not pull the covers off. When he put his hands on me, he was strangling me.
I'm asking what woke you up. You testified to one thing earlier. Now you're testifying to something different.
He was on the phone with Stefan multiple times that night, sir. It was a very traumatic experience that night for me,
Got it.
and it's very hard to remember certain points.
Well, some of these points are important.
I understand.
I'm talking about when you woke up. You testified that you woke up to David pulling the covers off and Stefan on the phone, correct?
That was one of the points in the night, yes.
I'm not asking about the points in the night.
That
I'm saying-
did happen.
Hold on. I have the question and you do the answer, okay, please?
Mhm.
Otherwise, they can't take a transcript.
Okay.
You woke up to David and Stefan on the phone.
Correct, at one point in
All
time.
right. At one point in time.
Mhm.
Okay. So there's multiple points in time when you woke up.
He was on the phone a lot, in and out.
In and out.
I'm really trying to remember that night, step by step.
Well,
It's not because I was drinking or drunk. It was just a lot of events happened that night. And it was a lot.
understood.
Mhm.
In fact, the next day you talked to a police officer, correct?
Yes,
And he asked you about your voice, correct?
yes.
And you said it's because you were drunk, right?
No, I said I may be hungover, but I was terrified. I didn't know what it was from. My voice was raspy. I was screaming at the top of my lungs.
Would it refresh your recollection to see the body cam video of you talking to the police officer and what your response is?
I know what my response is.
Well, what was your response?
That I'm probably hungover.
Thank you.
Mhm.
In fact, you were asked multiple times by the police officer, and that was your response, correct? Now, what makes sense? Yeah, may I have an approach? Can I just have a standing request to approach on that?
Yeah,
line?
you can approach. I'll tell you if you've gone too far.
Very,
Okay?
very good. All right. Here's the thing. Could you mark on there where you were when you were woken up by David pulling the covers off?
Want me to I guess I could.
Sure. Great, thanks. Okay. And it is on the furthest right of the two beds, correct?
It's on the. Yeah, on the right.
Okay.
Mhm.
And what time was it?
I'm not sure.
Was this the first in the sequence of events when you woke up?
This was. I don't remember.
You're not sure where this happened, huh?
I'm not sure of exactly what happened
Okay.
all at once. I know how I was woken up, so.
So the chronology is a little jumbled for you. Is that true?
What, sorry?
The chronology of these events is a little jumbled for you. Is that true?
A little bit, but I know what happened.
No. All right. Now you said that there was a strangling that took place.
Mhm.
All right, we're gonna go back to the drawing this, okay?
Yeah.
Drawing here where that happened. Oh, same day. Okay. Now you're
Yes,
horizontal,
yes,
different position.
yes.
Okay. And where's Dave?
Dave is in front. Oh,
Here you go right ahead.
okay, check.
Yep.
Oh, maybe right here.
Yeah.
Standing.
There you go. Put a D there. Okay, let's see. All right. So are you laying down?
Yeah.
Okay. And so he's lunging at you?
I guess. What do you mean by lunging?
I don't know. You tell
He
me.
was on top of me, not lunging.
You can happen.
Yes,
Okay. What time around the morning was this?
it had to be anywhere between, I guess, 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning.
Not sure.
I'm not.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm not sure.
That's okay. All right. All right. And is this the only instance where that took place? The strength that you say he strangled you?
Yeah, in the bed. Yeah,
Just right here?
a lot of yes.
Okay. And then we got the heater.
Mhm.
Remember the heater?
Yes, I do.
And let's see. You said the heater was broken, correct?
Mhm. That's what the maintenance guy said. At least. That's
Like a
the
shame.
one it worked.
I'm not asking a question. Do you recognize this?
Yes,
Okay, what's this?
that's the heater.
Okay.
I believe that's what you call it.
All right, that's fair. Do you see anywhere on here that's broken?
No, it was broken down there when I landed on it, which broke the door wall, sensor on the wall.
Where do you see that in this picture?
You don't, but there's a sensor over there that they said that was broken from the heater being landed on.
Did you see that? The sensor that was broken?
Yeah,
How did you see it? Did they show it to you?
the maintenance guy who brought me towels came up there.
Mr.
and
Dunn.
pointed
Yes,
towards
sir.
it.
I'm gonna take a brief
Of course.
recess. I hear my phone blowing. up.
Yeah.
I have some daughters who are trying.
All right. All right.
Please be seated. Okay, sorry to interrupt. Go ahead, Mr. Wall.
Sure. Okay. So one of the things you told the police officer was that you were dragged by your hair. Do you remember that?
I don't remember saying that. No,
Okay, were you dragged by your hair?
I don't remember.
You don't remember being dragged by your hair?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I know I'm scared.
Well, so much for that question. Okay. So you went to sleep after,
Yeah, I could
Yes.
do that.
okay, after David left. You saw David go and you said, I'm gonna go to sleep, right?
Yeah.
You didn't go down the hall and knock on doors, right?
No,
In fact, you didn't go down the reception desk and say anything to anybody, did you?
no, I had no clothes.
Well, you did have clothes, didn't you?
Yeah, in the shower, soaking wet.
But you didn't put those on.
No, I
Close
was
seatbelt?
afraid to leave the room, sir.
I'm asking a question.
No, I did not put them on.
Okay, and you didn't go down the reception desk, right?
Not till the morning.
And it was about 2 or 3 hours later that you went downstairs, correct? So when you went, or a police officer came and met you in the room, correct?
Correct.
All right. And you were clothed, right?
Mhm.
You talked to the police officer.
Yes,
You were asked repeatedly if you wanted to go to the hospital. You said no.
yes.
Have you spoken to anyone today about your testimony?
Yes, people that know what's going on.
Who did you speak to?
So with my Stacy and my parents, of course.
What's Stacy's last name?
Schultz,
Okay, and your parents?
Kelly,
Yep.
and Ralph.
Yep. Same last name?
College, yes.
Yep, gotcha. Anyone else you talked to?
My friend Amanda. Steele.
All right. Is that it?
Okay, Ms. Mogenberg, any redirect?
No, you're on. Thank you.
Okay, then you may step down, ma'am. Any other witnesses, Ms. Mogenberg?
No, you're on. Thank you.
And does the defense intend to call any witnesses? Okay. So, I think we'll go ahead and take up argument and then we'll take up the Duval case after. So, Motion, Ms. Mogenberg?
Yeah, I asked the court based on the testimony of Ms. Spellage to bind the defendant over on the 2 felony charges. Obviously, the domestic violence misdemeanor would then follow. She clearly testified that she was on the bed and the defendant had both his hands around her neck. And that affected the breathing, and she thought caused her to have a raspy voice as well. She also testified that at some point during the altercation, during the assault, she was attempting to call for help. The defendant had her cell phone, and so she tried to use the hotel room phone, and the defendant pulled that away from the wall, ripping out the jack or the wire from the wall so that she was unable to call.
Okay, Mr. Naughton, response?
Thank you, Your Honor. Yeah, as this court knows, it has a gatekeeping function at the preliminary examination. Although the threshold evidentiary is lower, the court can determine the reliability and credibility of a witness testimony. Here we do have a reliability and credibility issue. We have different statements that were given on direct, that were directly confronted to on cross, specifically about the chronology of events, as well as the strangulation. It was testified in one direction that it happened to wake her up. However, by cross-examination, she said no, and she was in a different portion of the body. Well, this is an issue of credibility. We know that. Again, I know that the threshold is much lower, but this is one of those few cases that does fall into that situation where the court can look at credibility and make a determination of that. If they answer any questions, otherwise, the court doesn't.
Okay, no, I do not.
Thank
So,
you.
all right, so this is a complaint for assault with intent to do great bodily harm, less than murder by strangulation and interfering with electronic communications. I'll get to the credibility issue, but the testimony of Ms. Gulich was that she was lying on her back when she realized the defendant was on top of her with both hands on her neck. She was lightheaded. The choking affected her breathing. She was kicking and scratching. So those are the elements of the assault with intent to commit great bodily harm by strangulation. She also identified the defendant and that it happened in Grand Traverse County. She also described the defendant having taken her cell phone, said he threw it in Lake Michigan, and when she went to call for help, he ripped the hotel phone out of its by the jack out of the wall, is what she said. The argument is made that the complainant her testimony was so incredible that no reasonable juror could believe it, but I do not find that to be the case. There were, I would call, minor discrepancies in her testimony that had more to do with the significance of the event than they had to do with that was being questioned about than the facts of the case that are the important facts. And people see and hear things differently, and it's not so much expected someone remembers what they were doing on Friday night before the assault. What they remember is someone on top of them with their hands on their neck and strangling them. And so all of the alleged discrepancies, which I didn't necessarily hear discrepancies in the testimony because, frankly, the witness wasn't allowed to explain a lot of what she was being asked to describe. And so I don't necessarily even find that there were discrepancies in her testimony. Certainly, there are credibility issues because of the affair that was going on. Maybe that's a motive. At the same time, it's a double-edged sword because it's also a strong motive for the defendant to react violently the way she alleges that it did happen. And so I do not find the credibility argument significant enough to take this question away from a jury. A jury should decide whether or not they believe the complaining witness or not. And frankly, if I were a judge of the testimony, I would find that her testimony seemed credible. She seemed to admit to some pretty, I guess, character faults. And she seemed to be very open about discussing those. And so anyhow, for those reasons, I am binding the defendant over to the circuit court. Are there any issues we need to address before I sign the bind over?
Can you just address this bond?
Yes, go ahead. Why don't you hang on? Let me take a look at what the bond is set at right now. Is it on an action report or an actual bond?
Oh,
form?
so it was in the beginning of 10,010, which I believe you must have posted, and then we had a bond hearing by the people. You had requested in-home, what's it called, GPS tethered at home. So I'm just looking at that. I don't know if that's still happening.
Okay, so that's probably where you're going, Mr. Williams, is that correct?
I am, Your Honor, because the only kind of work are for those people.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, so he was. Bond violation was that he was charged with another domestic assault. And then there was an argument made by people that the facts of the both cases were eerily similar. However, no one indicated whether or not one of the two people involved had looked at the complaint from the other one. So whatever, it was dismissed. And he was placed on house arrest as a result of GPS tether. So he's losing money. He can't maintain his clients. He can't do job bids. So I'm just asking, this case is going to be pending for a while. It's going to be who knows, months before he gets a trial. So I'm asking for the tether to be removed. I mean, he needs to work. He's out on a bond, and the catalyst and the sole fact relied on for the violation was that charge, and it's been dismissed since. I'm asking to remove the tether.
Okay, response, Ms. Mogenberg.
Your Honor, I don't have an objection to lifting the house arrest, but I would ask that the tether remain on. That way we can at least have an exclusion zone so we can protect the victims.
And so she said she lives in Warren. He lives in Harrison Township, which is right adjoining. Isn't that Mount Clemens?
I'm not sure.
It's in Macomb County. I mean, it's not adjoining. There's.
Okay, what do you think of that, Mr. Williams?
I think it's excessive and it's unreasonable, and the fact that he was put on tether is because he was charged with something that was dismissed. The tether should be removed, and he clearly has high motivation not to violate it. If he does, obviously that's going to disrupt any probability of a resolution here. So I would ask it to be removed in its entirety.
I didn't follow that. Disrupt any resolution.
Well, if he gets himself in trouble and he has contact with her, he's going to get a bond violation. He's going to get put in jail. It's going to make it impossible to.
But he's not supposed to have contact with her. That's the whole
I
point.
get that, but
Yeah.
the GPS tether doesn't stop contact. So, I mean,
Well, it's supposed to.
when has it? So I would just ask it to be removed. It was unfair. I mean, it was put on because of a charge that was dismissed. So why shouldn't it be taken off? I mean, that's why it was put on.
Yeah, and again, I would just ask that the GPS tether remain on. It's extremely difficult for us to enforce bond conditions when the individuals involved are outside our jurisdiction. The GPS tether obviously provides a way that we can do that, and hopefully keep her safe.
I think I
Okay,
did.
well, yeah, go ahead.
I don't think it was. I think the original bond placed the tether on it, it's largely misleading, and then the house arrest was a result of the violation.
Okay,
I think that's most accurate, but I'm still asking for it to be taken.
so I will remove the restriction, the house arrest, but the defendant is still not to have any contact with the uh, complaining witness. He's not to go within 500 yards of a residence or workplace, and he's to wear the GPS tether. I think that is it's certainly an inconvenience and an expense, but in my mind, it makes sense. This is a serious offense. If the defendant is convicted, he's charged as a habitual offender, fourth offense. I realize the priors are quite old, but that makes it a very serious offense. And for those reasons, I'm going to keep the tether in place. But you are allowed to leave the home and work. And Ms. Molenberg, you're not asking for any particular restrictions other than no contact with the complaining witness, correct? Okay. So that,
Very good, Your Honor.
okay. All right, then, with that, I'll sign the bind over form. So the defendant is bound over to the circuit court to appear next May 16th at 8 a.m. for the circuit court pretrial conference.
Very good, John.
And that is on the charges in the complaint. Bond is continued other than house arrest lifted. GPS tether still required. And then we'll go to the arraignment next, Mr. Naughton.
Mr. Morris, in regard to the charges, the formal rating stands.
Okay, and the maximum penalties as well, correct?
Correct.
And so, and he's waiving a reading of the information, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so defendant standing mute, you said. I'll enter a not guilty plea on your behalf at this time, Mr. Morris, and if there's nothing else, we're all set for this afternoon.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.